I have this huge unread pile of books in my shelf and they're staring at me every time I go book shopping or read anything else that is not on this pile. So yeah, I will attempt to read those books in a couple of months, and I would, I thought, I would tell you what kind of books are on this pile, and, please comment if you've read any of these. So if they're not good anyway, maybe I just do not read them so I can remove them from this pile. But yeah, I'm really pumped to read a lot of these books, and yeah. So the first one is this Spanish novel for beginners. It's basically, I think, just a very easy Spanish story, but with like explanations and like quizzes at the end of each chapter. And yeah, I've been on and on trying to learn Spanish for like the last 5 years. I have Duolingo, I had Bubble, I think that's what it's called. I bought this book, I don't know, 2 years ago. I've never read it. But yeah, this year I want to get back to learning Spanish, so yeah. Let's get this out of the way. So the next thing is the Sonnets by Shakespeare. I've been really enjoying reading Shakespeare recently. I, obviously, living in Germany, I didn't study Shakespeare's literature in school or whatever, but now I've read 4 or 5 plays. I'm in the middle of reading one, and yeah, I just really love Shakespeare. I get the hype, he did something. He did something there. But yeah, these sonnets, I just, browsed through them. Actually, Judi Dench made me read the sonnets because she was citing one of these sonnets in the Graham Norton show, and I just loved it so much. I'm really hyped to read these little sonnets, and, he really grew on me. I am really fond of Shakespeare, so yeah, the sonnets. And these editions are, by the way, so pretty. I have all of my Shakespeare plays in these editions, and they're colored, I think, black are for tragedies, and then you have this light blue for the comedies, and they're just so pretty. Next up, we have Mythos or Mythos. This is the German edition, I don't know how it's called, but yeah, it's by Stephen Fry, and it's one of the 3 retellings he's done on Greek mythology. So this one, then we have Troy and Heroes. And basically he tells the story of Greek mythology, but in a really witty and entertaining way. And I'm really fond of Greek mythology. I'm really interested in it. And it's not next, but it's, maybe this year I get around to reading this. Also a pretty edition, right? Oh, I like it. Next up, we have Mermaid of Black Conch by Monique Roffey. I don't know. I know nothing about this book, basically, about a mermaid. I suppose I really only bought this book for the cover because it is stunning and it's beautiful. It is the moment. But yeah, other than that, I don't know nothing about this book. And I think I've seen some reviews that were not, that great. But yeah, the Kingdom of the Sea is big, and it has... What? The Kingdom of the Sea is big, and it have its own ways. On a quiet day near the Caribbean island of Black Conch, a mermaid raises her barnacled head from the flat grey sea. She's attracted by David, a fisherman waiting for a catch, singing to himself with his guitar. Aikaia, I think? Aikaia, the mermaid, has been living in the vast ocean all along for centuries. When Aikaia is caught and dragged ashore by American tourists, David rescues her with the aim of putting her back in the ocean, but it's soon clear that the mermaid is already transforming into a woman. This is the story of the love affair of an island and of the Great White Sea. Okay, I guess. I mean, it sounds interesting. It's basically a mermaid falling in love with a dude. It's basically Ariel, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna read this, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's short. It's like 230 pages, but yeah, it's just pretty. I don't know. Tell me in the comments if you've read this or if I should read this. Then we have Believe Me, which is the last novella in the whole Shadow Me series. I'm stuck in the last book of the Shadow Me series, to be honest. I've been stuck there for like a year. I don't know. It just gets so absurd at a certain point, and it's not really too interesting anymore, and I'm kind of annoyed with the characters. But yeah, I will finish it pretty soon, and then we're gonna read this finally. I mean, we have to finish it at least. I'm like almost done. This is like the ugliest cover I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay, maybe not the ugliest, but this is pretty damn ugly. Sorry. Ooh, then we have The Stranger by Albert Camus. I mean, what can I say? It's the German edition because I read an English translation of a French book as a German. I know that's just too many turns for me. So usually I read English books in English and everything else in German. So yeah, I cannot read you the back because it's German. I mean, Camus, I've seen so many like excerpts and little quotes from him, and I'm already falling in love with his writing without even having read any of his works. So yeah, this is pretty high up on my list. Next up we have Bunny, which has been quite popular a while ago with all the, you know, dark academia rage. The Secret History, If We Were Villains, you know, everyone loved dark academia and this was also a big part of it. And first of all, the cover, that's cool. I love the pink with the yellow. Yeah, it's called Bunny and it's basically about this girl who goes to university. I think she's called Samantha, and then she meets this kind of clique of girls who are pretty rich and they call each other Bunny, and she's pretty repelled by them, but then she gets an invitation, I think, to their house. I don't know, somewhere, I don't really know. But yeah, it's supposed to be dark and twisted and like this fairy tale horror genre, and it's supposed to be really weird but really, really good. I don't know, it seems like a book I would love to take on vacation and read it there and kind of get lost in there. But yeah, also high on my list, which I'm probably saying about every one of them, but yeah, it's true for this one. Next up we have Dracula by Bram Stoker, an absolute classic, of course. I bought this alongside with Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, I think last fall or the one before, I don't quite remember, but I ended up reading Frankenstein and I didn't really get through it that fast, so it was already Christmas time and I was not really in the mood for vampires anymore. And now it's spring and we have, you know, summer coming up, and I don't know if I'm gonna read a vampire story at this point. So this one, I will remember it for fall, you know, for spooky season, and this will get its time to shine. And I'm really hyped for it. Next up we have Franz Kafka's, why am I calling him Franz? I'm German. It's Franz Kafka, sorry. This is Kafka's Letters to Milena. It's basically just a compilation of the letters he wrote to this girl who he was in love with. You know, obviously I had to read Kafka in school, but then I got curious about this book because I saw this short little quote from this book. I want to put it somewhere here, and it just sounds so cute. I really like Kafka, so this is kind of next. I hate this edition. It's this really weird size. Like, why not make it thicker but then smaller? I hate these huge books, but they're really thin and like, I don't know, it also feels weird and the cover is ugly. I don't know, I hate this edition. Still, I mean, it's about the content, not about the outside. So the next thing is Stille by Erling Kagge. So this is, I think, a Norwegian book, but this is the German translation. It's translated to like silence. And this book my father gave to me on my birthday this year, and it's basically about finding those moments of inner peace and quietness and just silence in your daily life. And I mean, it says in the book, it doesn't matter if you're on the Mount Everest or if you're on a busy train in your daily life. This is just about the art of finding this peace and being content and having those moments, you know, of silence for you with, you know, everything just shutting off for a moment. And yeah, I don't know anything about it. I see that there are pictures in here and even one printing error, which I have not seen yet in my life. So yeah, look at this. I don't know what's happened here, but it gives it character, you know? And obviously because my dad gave it to me, it has a special place in my heart and on my shelf. So this is pretty high up on my list. For real, like this is true. And then next up we have a book by the woman, like the woman of literature. I'm talking about Agatha Christie. This is And Then There Were None. It's one of her most popular books and I have this cute little edition. I'm really excited to get into it. I have not read Agatha Christie ever. I've seen a couple of movie adaptations, of course, and I just know that she's one of the most published and bought authors of all time. So this must be good, right? It must be good, and I think this is a good starting point. So I am excited for this. Oh, Jesus. The next one comes with a lot of love, but with a lot of frustration as well. This is Fullmetal Alchemist volume 3, but I've only read volume 1. Why? Yeah, I will tell you why. So I want to get these editions. They're those pretty hardcover with like this beautiful metallic foiling on the spine. They're called the Fullmetal editions, and they're pretty expensive, but they're also pretty beautiful. So I want to get all of these editions. But I did the math. After buying the first one, it would cost me roughly 450 euros to get all of the volumes. And so it's like, I don't know, but I got the first one, this edition, because, you know, if I'm gonna get a physical copy, I will get this. I will not get anything else. So I bought the first, loved it. I really, really loved it. It was such a great first volume. And then I immediately ordered the second, third, and fourth volume because you cannot get them in any store here. So I bought them online. But this one got delivered, the third one, but the second and fourth one, it both said like, oh, it can be delivered in 2 to 4 weeks. But then after 4 weeks, I checked and they said, oh, well, we don't really have it here and we don't know when we will have it. But we will ship it to you as soon as we have it. And this was 4 months ago. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna get that. I actually canceled that order and then reordered the second volume to just have that so I can continue reading this one. It also never delivered. So at this point, I'm just stuck with the first and third volume and I will read the rest of it online, I think. I just feel like I'm on hold for the last 5 months because I want to continue reading this series. I just cannot get hold of it. So please, if anyone out there knows someone, or you know, is that someone who owns a copy of the second volume of Fullmetal Alchemist in the Fullmetal edition and you know might want to sell it to me, or you know just doesn't want to have it on email or knows where I can find it, please tell me, because I'm just, you know, I don't know anymore. I don't know what to do. I'll just probably resort to reading online for now because I really want to keep reading this. And the last thing is probably just was not a good buy, to be honest. I think I was in the mood for something romancy, something spicy maybe even. So I bought Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is a Formula One romance book about the sister of a Formula One racer and the rival of her brother, and they kind of meet because she's kind of coming along on the season and is there in all the races, and they kind of meet. Sparks are flying, but you know, there's this rivalry between him and her brother. I don't know. It's kind of a bit cringe because I watch Formula One and I am a fan of Formula One, and so I don't know. I bought this a long time ago where I didn't really watch Formula One, but now it's kind of weird to read this. I think I started it and I stopped at 56, so I don't know if I'm ever gonna get back into this. I think at some point there might be a moment where I want to read some romance, which is not often, but sometimes I really crave some romance and then I don't have a book lying around and then I buy something like this, and when it comes it's just not interesting to me anymore. So yeah, I'll see if I will continue this or not. Let's see. I don't know. So yeah, this concludes my TBR pile. Actually, it is smaller than I thought because I think I just put random books on there that I've read or that are my brother's books and it just looked pretty huge. But in the end, I think it was like 14 books, I think. So yeah, that's manageable, but still it's my goal to not buy any more books before I finish those or decided that I'm not going to read them. So yes, in the next couple months I will get on to reading them. Yeah, I do think I have some more unread books, but they're like part of series, so they're all in their respective section on my shelf. So a lot of Shadowhunter books, for example. Yeah, that's it for me today. You know, this was just a short little update on my reading habit. But yeah, I hope you have a great day and please hit subscribe and comment below, and yeah, I hope you have a great day. Bye.